You are trapped in a block and everyone hates walking on you. Imagine being conscious. Now imagine being conscious, immobile, and located in one of the most unpleasant dimensions in Minecraft. Now imagine that your defining trait, the thing you are known for across the entire server community, is that walking on you makes people slow down. Not just slightly, noticeably, annoyingly, the kind of slow that makes players groan out loud and immediately start looking for a way around you. That is your life as a soul sand block. You are not just inconvenient, you are specifically, deliberately, cosmically inconvenient. And it only gets worse from there. Welcome to the Nether. Try not to think too hard about what's in your sand. The Nether is your home, and it is a disaster zone. Let's set the scene. You exist in the Nether, Minecraft's hellish underworld dimension that is, by any reasonable measure, terrible. The floor is mostly netherrack, which burns eternally and serves as the world's least pleasant carpet. The walls glow with the specific orange red of something that has been on fire for millions of years. Lava is everywhere. Not as a hazard you occasionally encounter, but as the ambient aesthetic. Pools of lava, waterfalls of lava, lakes so enormous that entire biomes float above them on precarious platforms. You are soul sand, and you live here. Specifically, you are most commonly found in the Soul Sand Valley biome, which is one of the few nether biomes named specifically for you. This sounds like an honor. It is not. The Soul Sand Valley looks exactly like you would imagine a biome named after sand made of trapped souls looks. It is pale blue-gray, lit by soul fire which burns cold and eerie, and filled with enormous fossils of creatures whose identity nobody has ever fully explained. It's the kind of place that makes players instinctively turn their brightness settings up because surely it can't be that dark. It is that dark. The ambient sounds of the Soul Sand Valley are specifically designed to be unsettling. There are moaning noises, not distant monster sounds, which players have learned to categorize and respond to appropriately. Just moaning. Ambient, directionless moaning that could theoretically be the souls trapped inside you if the lore is to be believed. And the lore on this is worth taking seriously. The Minecraft wiki and various developer comments over the years have consistently implied that soul sand does, in fact, contain trapped souls. The sand is named soul sand. It makes a specific sound when you walk on it. The soul fire that burns on it is distinct from regular fire. The entire biome is organized around a theme of imprisoned or lingering spirits. This is not subtle. Minecraft looked at sand and thought, what if this sand was made of suffering? And then they shipped it. You are literally made of other people's bad situations. That is your base material. Before you have even done anything, you are already a monument to someone else's misery. Walking on you is a punishment and players know it. The soul sand slowness effect is one of the most infamous terrain hazards in all of Minecraft. Players hate it with a specific, personal kind of hatred that is usually reserved for things that killed them during an important run. It is not the hatred of a dangerous mob or a sudden fall. It is the hatred of a thing that is purely annoying, that has no upside for the person walking on it, and that exists entirely at their inconvenience. The mechanics are straightforward. Walking on soul sand reduces movement speed significantly. Not enough to stop you entirely. Just enough to make every step feel like pushing through invisible syrup while the rest of the game continues at normal speed around you. Players crossing a large area of soul sand don't just get slowed down. They get frustrated. They look around for alternatives. They calculate whether going around is faster. They make small sounds of irritation at their screens. And here you are, just sitting there, causing all of this. You don't mean to. You don't have a choice. Your entire existence is defined by a property you were born with and cannot change. A property that makes everyone who interacts with you a little bit more miserable than they were before. If you could feel, you would feel bad about this. The Minecraft lore suggests you might be able to feel, which means there is a real possibility that you are spending every moment of your existence dimly aware that you are the source of everyone's inconvenience and completely powerless to do anything about it. You are used to build the most disturbing thing in Minecraft. Here is where your situation gets genuinely complicated. You are one of the key ingredients in summoning the Wither. The Wither is a boss mob, a big one. 3 skulls, a health bar that appears like a personal insult to everyone in the game, and a set of attacks designed to ruin whatever day the player was having. It explodes. It spawns Wither skeletons. It has a second phase that activates at half health, and gives it temporary immunity to projectiles. which feels like a personal slight. Defeating it drops a Nether star, which is used to craft the beacon, one of the most useful items in the game. Summoning the Wither requires 4 soul sand blocks arranged in a T-shape, with 3 Wither skulls placed on top. The soul sand is the foundation. You are the pedestal. The Wither does not exist without you. Players who want to summon a Wither either do it in a controlled underground environment designed to contain the explosion, or they do it outside and immediately regret it. Either way, you are there at the beginning. You are the structural base from which this disaster emerges. When the Wither spawns, there is a brief moment of ominous music, a dramatic health bar appearance, and then immediate chaos. That chaos began on you. You are the launchpad for one of Minecraft's greatest problems. And after the Wither spawns, you are still just sitting there, soul sand blocks scattered on the ground while everything around you explodes, serving your purpose and immediately becoming irrelevant to whatever comes next. The bubble column thing is actually your most important contribution and nobody thinks about it. Most players never stop to consider this about soul sand. You are the key component for creating upward bubble columns in water. Underwater in Minecraft, movement is slow. Drowning is a constant risk. Getting up from depth requires swimming, which uses hunger and time. Soul sand at the bottom of a water column creates a stream of bubbles that shoots players and items upward at high speed. This is called an upward bubble column, and it is extraordinarily useful for elevator systems, mob farms, item sorters, and the kind of complicated redstone contraptions that very dedicated Minecraft players spend weeks building. Every soul sand elevator in every survival world, every bubble-powered item transport system, every underwater breathing station that uses bubble columns for quick surfacing, that's you, that's your contribution. The build that took 3 hours of careful construction to get working relies on you being exactly where you are, doing exactly what you do. Players who build these systems will dig down specifically to find you. They will put you in a chest labeled carefully. They will use you with the focused precision of someone who knows what they're doing and needs the right material. This is the closest thing to dignity your existence offers, not the soul trapping, not the Wither summoning, not the slowness. The elevator, the bubble column that quietly moves things upward in the dark, doing exactly what it's supposed to do, completely unnoticed, because the system is working correctly. You are most appreciated when people forget you are there. That is a melancholy fact about your situation, but it is a fact. The souls in your sand are unexplained, and that is the most disturbing part. Let's return to the soul situation, because it deserves more attention than it usually gets. The Minecraft lore doesn't explain who the souls are. They are not named. They are not associated with any specific event or group of entities. They are just there, in the sand, contributing to its distinct sound and its soulfire properties and, presumably, to the general ambient suffering of the Soul Sand Valley. Where did they come from? Nobody says. Were they players? Were they ancient creatures from before the current game state? Are they ongoing? Is new soul sand still being created? Which would mean that whatever process turns something into soul sand is still active in the Nether? These questions are not answered. The effect of this ambiguity is that soul sand sits in a specific category of Minecraft content, things that are more disturbing if you think about them than if you don't. Most of Minecraft functions on the logic of a cheerful sandbox where you build things and farm things and occasionally fight things. Soul sand is a block that whispers, if you listen, that something went very wrong here at some point. And whatever went wrong is still here, compressed into cubic meter blocks, arranged neatly across biome floors, and available for crafting recipes. Players mostly don't think about this. They walk across you, slow down, make their irritated sounds, and move on. The souls in the sand, if there are souls in the sand, experience this and presumably cannot express any opinion about it. You are furniture made of someone else's tragedy. The Nether was designed to be unpleasant, and you are one of its most consistent ambient reminders of why. What it would mean if you could think. Let's end with the thought experiment the game never quite commits to but never quite abandons either. What if you can think? The Minecraft universe contains conscious mobs. It contains villagers with complex trading behavior. It contains allays that remember music and collect items for players they like. Consciousness in Minecraft is distributed more widely than in the real world. The question of whether a soul sand block, specifically one described as containing souls, has any form of experience, is not obviously answered no. If you can experience anything, your experience is this. You are still. You are always still. Nothing you do changes your situation. Players walk on you and slow down and curse and move on. Occasionally, someone picks you up and carries you somewhere else, and your location changes, but your situation doesn't. You might be used in a wither summon, which means you will witness the beginning of a disaster and then be left behind as it unfolds. You might be placed at the bottom of a water column where you will spend an indefinite period sending bubbles upward in the dark. You are part of the background of a game that millions of people play, usually without noticing you specifically. You are the material beneath the feet of every player who crosses the Soul Sand Valley and finds the crossing unpleasant. You are the foundation of every wither that has ever been summoned and unleashed on a world. You are the silent engine of every bubble column elevator and every well-designed base. You are everywhere, and you are noticed mostly as an inconvenience and occasionally as a useful resource, and almost never as a thing that might, in the quiet of the Nether, be having some kind of experience. But the moaning is there if you listen. And the Nether is very quiet when nobody is around.